everybody. My name is Reverend Donna Seraphina. I'm a psychic medium, and I would like to share with you something I skipped over in my last map presentation for Summer Wells. About a month ago, I uploaded a portion of a reading that was solely focused on the locations of where certain parts of this crime might have been committed. The rest of the reading was graphic and horrific, and there were things on there that I saw that could never be uploaded to YouTube anyway. The legitimacy of the previous readings has not changed. After I was done with the first map presentation, I realized that I forgot the entire right side of the map. So I'm going to just go over that real quick, and then at the end of this video I'm going to link you back to the first map presentation so that you can watch that 12 minutes that really goes into some of the characters around this case and the locations where certain things may have happened. I'm also going to attempt to embed this link on my website, which is psychicseraphina.com. Now, I have to zoom out for just a minute, and I covered this in depth in the first map presentation, but apparently Candace and Grandis took the children to Wonderworks with the upside down houses. Now, when you go look at this map, what happened was, if you see this cluster of markers, that's what I went through in the first map presentation, and you're not going to want to miss that large amount of potential clues and information. But on the right side of the map, you can see that some of the other things that came up in my readings were over here on the right, and they're really important, I think, especially for people who are searching. So apparently the day that Don was working, one of the places he was working at is called the English Ivy Trail, and it's a housing development where they are building new houses. I talked with the wife of Dudley Ajon, who was the co-worker that Don Wells was trying to smear. Remember, Ivy was one of the clues that came up, and that kind of implies that you know who is probably partially responsible, if not responsible in large part. I didn't want to directly say a whole lot about Don any more than I already did in my readings, because he was communicating with me through text for about a month and a half, and I was sending him information when people would email me. I wasn't giving them the names, but I was saying, oh, somebody sent me this and this and this, what do you think? And he would respond. I did have a feeling, if you remember in those first couple of readings, that the child, Summer, was brought over towards this. I felt like it was called like Tennessee Hills. I was saying Tennessee Hills, and then I wonder if there's a winery or brewery. Well, it turns out that Don Wells, where he was working at this English Ivy Trail and a couple other housing developments right next to it, was a Tennessee Hills Distillery. Now, that doesn't mean they have any part in this at all. It's just that was a landmark for the directions of where it felt that Summer was originally brought to. And if you look at it, Tennessee Hills Distillery, and right behind it is Jonesburg Gazebo. And if you remember correctly, that I was seeing a gazebo, but then I was also seeing a gazebo where there was a mirror image into the water. And at Bay Mountain Park, they have a gazebo where there's a mirror image into the water. So what is it? Where is it? I don't know. I would be able to know if I was present. I'll give you an example. In the Idaho case of the missing children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow, if you recall, through most of the readings, a trapper kept coming through, and here's the trapper, and that's different than a hunter. Trapper, trapper, trapper. Well, guess what was not on the maps? Trapper Lane was the closest road to Chad Daybell's house, aside from the road intersection he actually lived on. Less than a quarter mile was Trapper Lane, but Google Maps didn't record it anymore because it was legally changed to a number. The locals still called it Trapper Lane, and they left up the sign. So if I had been able to go there, that case would have been solved like within a week. Okay, I'm not exaggerating about this. And for me to sit here from, 3,000 miles away from here and go, oh, here's some interesting places. But you see, if I went there, I would enter an altered state and be getting chills all over my body and seeing things when I'm around where things happened. And I know that for a fact because I've done it locally. Here we are. Let's look at Jonesburg Gazebo. How easily they could have. Oh, and there's a train track, right? So we have all three of these things. And there's an actual train bridge. So if you remember, and this is important, one of the clues was Ivy, train, bridge. And then the last one was steamboat. And the way it whisked through, it was real light, like almost not even there. And when that happens in mediumship, it's usually a picture. You might see a toy of a steamboat. You might see a hamburger place called Steamboat, not an actual steamboat. But one of the places where I would just kind of take a walk if I was searching is right around here. On this side, you go to this here. Now, I don't know if this is a private road that goes up to this brick mansion with white pillars, which I'm not saying it is any way involved, but right behind, you can go on this road out here and you can see through to this train bridge. I think you would probably be able to walk through the park and go across this train bridge. What would be real interesting is I'm sure these people have surveillance cameras. I want to show you how you can see this. You can only see it on the map through right here. Like you can go here. So you see the train goes by there. There's a train. So if you look here, you can see this bridge. There's a train bridge. So here we have the Tennessee Hills Distillery, which came up in my reading, and not as being involved, but just as I had this feeling of being pulled there of where the child was originally brought in that reading. And the gazebo came up in the reading. So there's this whole park is sometimes known as Gazebo Park, although when I'm describing the gazebo, it definitely looks like the one at Bay Mountain where it's that mirror image. There's different parts of this crime. I'm not sure what happened where. But in addition, there's a train bridge. So remember when I asked law enforcement and I said, oh, was there anything we can just give to law enforcement? It was Ivy. Okay, so that's where Don was working. Oh, and you're going to have to see this. Okay, oh, there he is. So look how close he was working. Ivy, English Ivy Trail. It's not even really on the map yet, on this map, but it's on the regular G maps. And then he was working right down the hill at another one. And then all he would have had to do is less than 5 minutes is come over here to oversee whatever occurred there with Summer. But look at this. In the Ivy house, the houses they were building, remember I kept seeing there was a sliding door. Well, guess what? They're built into this house as a decoration. Where I didn't know what it was. I don't know if it's a hollowed out log, like I said, my files on Summer Wells. And this actually, a lot of this is from listeners sending me information from the readings. So I've definitely looked into quite a few people. There is a ton of sex offenders all around them. There's so many good suspects. I've never seen a case where practically everybody they know could be a suspect. I'm going to show you how you can donate, how you can help, if you think what I have is valuable. So here it is, missing persons and unsolved murders solved. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the money together to get a reliable, either a van, something I could just sleep in, like either a van or a camper. So also you may have one or know of somebody that has one that's reliable enough to go interstate, to go to some of these crime locations and to literally, time is of the essence. Like when you talk about Suzanne Morphew, and, if she was put out in the mountains anywhere, turned to bones and they were scattered. Now, if she was dropped down a mine, the bones might be in one place. Or if she was embedded in concrete, then that could be another story. If she was put under the water, do you see what I mean? A year later, 2 years later, and then you would still need evidence tying the remains back to the murderer. So time is of the essence on all these things. And if you are able to contribute, that would be great. Let's go back to here a minute. So I'm going to put this link on my website, psychicseraphina.com. I have mapped out every train bridge between there and the state above there. And also, what's really interesting is, so there's some of my work. This is what I'm capable of from several thousand miles away. But wouldn't it be great if I could go around and literally, like if I had been up in Rexburg and seen Chad's house, I think it would be all they could do to hold me back from walking up there with a shovel myself. And I know that in the psychic overview I did on February 14th, 3.5 months before they found the remains, when I kept saying, Tammy's trying to bring me into her backyard. She's like showing me a well or something like that. Because I was seeing the concrete ring, and I live in a city, I've actually never seen a well in person. It just is what it is. But that case could have been solved literally within a week if I was there. And so let's try to help get. And you know what? Another thing is, don't you think if you watched that whole thing, if you were one of the people who watched me do 10 readings in a row and sending the letters to the law enforcement all the time, and I sent letters to Kay Woodcock weekly about updates, and I was working with Kay Woodcock's daughter, yet I hear nothing back about this reward, which I more than earned. If nobody ever pays a reward to a psychic, and the police never acknowledge a psychic, and the media never acknowledges a psychic outside of a short list of pre-approved psychics or something like that, then we're dead in the water for this, because I've literally spent 2 years proving myself. I'd like to help on more cases, but the last time I did a reading on Summer Wells, I actually had nightmares for 8 days straight, about 4 hours a night of sleep, and I actually had to cancel my regular schedule, so I couldn't even earn money that week. So besides just the volunteering of the time, then there's the fact that it's going to take more out of me than people really understand. I spent several months writing an essay on how to prove the afterlife. You can download that essay for free on my website. I turned this in. This guy named Robert Bigelow, he's a billionaire, and he used to own Skinwalker Ranch. He had an essay contest for $500,000. Who could prove the afterlife? Well, guess what? 27 of the 29 people who won had PhDs, and not a single one of the papers that I read even came close to proving the afterlife. They only suggested it or pondered it, pontification. Exactly what he said he did not want. He said he wanted concrete proof. Well, what better concrete proof of the afterlife is the work that I did on the case of Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow. Okay, so here we have Summer Wells. Look at all this. So this is quite a bit of work done by myself and by other listeners on the case of Summer Wells. Then, of course, we have Lori Vallow. There's a ton. I just have literally so much work done and put into that case. And each of these is going to be like a bunch. So I've proved my worth. I've proved my commitment, and what I haven't been able to do is secure funding. Except for what I want to show you is on this picture of Lori cackling. It says Essay to Prove the Afterlife. And you can see right here, you can download it for free. The essay, it's 70 plus pages, and it has a real analytical approach to the claims I made and where I proved it. It's quite a bit of interesting information on all these cases on my website. I'm going to be putting up more, but this shows like by March and April, we were suspecting this was Chad's house and writing letters to the police about it, and where I've not been offered this very smallest reward I've ever seen, but I definitely deserve that reward. Do you agree or don't you agree? Because this is the thing. I have to pay rent. I have to buy groceries. I have to do car repairs. I have to put gas in my car just like everybody else. And if I can't find the funding, then I'm literally, it just won't be as many of these type of cases, just because, like I said, they're pretty hard on the mental to go to that level, to go to the level where I'm, letting my consciousness go to that place and witness that and see what happened for the purpose of helping law enforcement. And yet I have seen people repeat information from my readings on Dr. Phil. I've had people manipulate me. I've had people stab me in the back. I'm just kind of done with that. So if you can help in any way, if you can donate some money, or if you can't, if you're broke, that's fine too. Share out my videos, please. Because once a YouTube channel gets to a certain level, it will go in people's recommendations, but I'm really not there yet. So if you could help in any way, shape, or form, please do. And yes, I do personal readings, and you can email me about that. All right. I hope you guys all have a good day. Now make sure to watch this last video.